So November of 2022, I got a missed call from an LA number. And I was like, I don't know anybody from LA. So I gave him a call back and she's like, hey, I'm a producer on The Bachelorette. We had an application submitted on your behalf. Would love to have a conversation with you about the show. And like, I've been single for a while. I was like, this sounds like the crazy. I thought it was fake. Like, I thought they were trying to like steal my credit card information, scam me. So I ended up going through the process, and the process to get on the show is not like, hey, you look like a funny dude, you look like a good dude, attractive, come on the show. It's pretty like extreme. Yeah, you got to go through a bunch of testing, photos, videos. Like, they know everything about you before you get and step into the mansion. So I went through all that, and like my mindset was, let me go for it. I'm probably not going to get it. Like, I'm probably not going to get cast. There's no way that I'm going to end up in the show. Go through the entire thing, and then even when you sign the contract, they can cut you at any time. So like, you can go out, fly out, and they never like use you and basically send you home. So I get to you're staying like a hotel for a couple of days before you start filming. And the entire time, like, I'm just not, they're going to cut me.
Yeah, like,
they're going to cut me. There's no way this is actually.
Because you also have to completely uproot your life, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have to stop working.
Yep.
How long you gone for?
Depends. Like, you could be gone for a couple of days. You could be gone for a month and a half. Like, you really don't know. It depends on if you have a connection with the lead or anything like that. So I told my work, I was like, hey, it could be back on Monday. It could be back in May. I have no idea. And this was like in March at the time.
They were like cool with it, or?
They weren't necessarily cool with it. I think that was like a pretty funny part of it, where I was told I could go, but it was never officially like approved.
Yeah.
So I leave, and like when you're filming, you don't have your phone, you don't have your laptop, you're not like closing deals or anything like that. So I left, started filming, and when they went to get approved, it was like kind of a no-go. And so they just put me on PTO, and like I went as long as I could until my PTO ran out. And thankfully, like when I got sent home, I had like 1 day left, or like no day left. It was literally perfect timing. But that was like one of those things where like I thought I was good. I came back and realized, wow, I was like very close to not only like getting sent home, but then not having a job when I get back. Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. Like, I don't love you and you have no job.
Yeah. Like, it's not you. And tough. You have a mortgage, but guess what? You don't have a job to pay that mortgage. So yeah, it was crazy. And then like soon after that, it's Paradise. Like, Paradise comes like right from there.
Jeez.
Dude, that's crazy. So you have no phone, right?
No phone. You don't have TVs. Like, you think about like your life right now, like where you're sitting at home at the end of the day, you're watching Netflix, you're on your phone, whatever. In this scenario, even when we would travel, like, we didn't have TVs to watch. Like, you're so immersed in this very, very unique,
like fake world.
Yeah, it's like, it's almost like an experiment, but it's pretty cool. Like, you don't even care about your phone at that point. Like, it's really nice not being tied to it. When you wake up, it's not the first thing you check. Like, you have your daily routine schedule that you're doing when you're filming, but like, it's almost like all the emotions are so heightened in this crazy world that they've built that it actually works. Like, you do start to feel
it's like a cool little social experiment.
Yeah. And if you think about it too, like, if you go out to the bar now, like, you go out in Tampa, there's, hundreds of really good looking girls. With the Bachelorette, the way the style of filming is, like, your only focus is this one person, like the lead, and like your only job at that point is to try and develop a connection with them. If you can develop one, you can continue on. If you can't, you're gonna get sent home. But like, it changes your mindset going into like dating in that world versus dating the real world.
Did you know who the girl was before you went?
I knew like 2 or 3 days before. So like, when they reached out to me, the season that Charity was on hadn't even finished filming yet. So I didn't know who the girls were. As you start to like go through the process getting cast, then like you start to figure out, hey, these might be the potential candidates, but they could they could just go from a previous season. Like, you have no idea. Usually they're from the season before, but they could take someone 2 or 3 years ago that like I may necessarily not know. And then I found out 2 days before I went and filmed. I was like, oh, this would be great. Let's have a good time.
So you get there, there's one girl, there's 20 other guys. How awkward is that when you're just like introducing yourself to the other guys and like meeting them like, hey, like, I'm trying to get with the same girl. Nice to meet you.
It is. When I went, I was like, I'm going to hate these guys. Like, we're all dating the same girl. Like, and every one of them is tall, good looking, like outgoing person. They all have similar personalities. I walked into it, was like, I'm gonna hate all these guys. Like, who cares? And like, pretty soon, as soon as I got to the mansion, I was like, man, these guys are awesome. Like, I like hanging out with them. So that was the part where I was like, yeah, it was easy to talk to these guys because they become like some of your closest friends. And if you're able to separate it, where it's like, hey, like, you have your own relationship with the lead and you also have your relationship with the guys, there's not a lot of, it's like, you don't get jealous. Like, I never once got like jealous of any of the other guys because they're your boys. You're almost like rooting them on too. It's like, yeah, I'm happy for you. You just got an amazing date. And then like you get back, you're like, damn, I wish that was me type thing. Yeah. But like in the moment, you just develop these crazy relationships with these guys. And I'm so close with a lot of them to this day. And it's it was like that was the best thing to come out of it. It was like you create lifelong friends and like those are my boys. Like
I was gonna say, like, were you going with the intention of like trying to make it to the end? Like, was that what you cared about most, or was it more so like just have fun with it and see what happens?
I think like my mindset before going on was like, this is gonna be an experience. Like I have no idea what's gonna happen. Like it could be, I could find love. Like I was open to the idea, and I think one of the big things that if anyone's ever like get asked or go through the process and like potentially going on a show like that is, are you gonna find love? Probably not. Like there's not a great likelihood that you end up with a lead in the end, you're engaged in that relationship lasts. However, be open to the idea of finding that and just go for like an amazing experience. And whatever happens, happens. Like go with the flow. Like take every day, like take it day by day, whatever you're feeling, like just lean into the process a little bit and like good things are gonna happen.
Also, the personal brand, just up and to the right. Like
Yeah.
we were out with you at where was it? 511.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you guys from Bachelor?
Yeah, yeah.
Bachelorette? Are you from the Bachelorette? I'm like, holy fuck, this is...
It is so crazy too, because like, you know, I was like a normal guy before all this, right? And like I was, you know, I knew a lot of people, but it wasn't to the point where you'd go out and like take photos and like people were like, oh my God, like you're Sean from like The Bachelor.
Yeah.
And what's so funny with that is it's not like as soon as like your name comes out, like people start recognizing you. I remember like when the cast got released, I was like walking the supermarket. Yeah, it's like the same. Like there's no difference. And then it's not until you kind of create a little bit of an impact on the show. There are people like put your name and face together and like, oh, that's that guy from the show. Yeah. And like there's still guys from my season that like we'll go out. Like we were talking about Nashville a little while ago. Like we were out in Nashville, like no one recognized some of these guys. Like they're like close friends of mine, but they'd come up to me and a couple of the other guys because you just a little bit of like, I don't know, impact you make in the show, like creates a little bit more longevity in terms of like the recognition outside of it.
And you made it pretty far in the show, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I was down to the final 6 in The Bachelorette, and then Paradise was like halfway through. So like enough airtime and enough like I was on people's screens long enough for them to like, oh, this is Sean.
I was gonna say, like, what are some of the things that you did differently than the other guys to like create that impact or likability?
I think it was more so just having fun with it. Like I didn't care. Like if I got off the show and I got DMs from people who were like, oh, like I don't care. Like I'm not gonna take criticism from someone I wouldn't take like advice from, you know?
Yeah. That's a bar.
And a lot of
like
people, that was a good one. I thought about that one.
That was all the press.
Yeah. And a lot of it was like, just have fun. Like, who cares? Like, a lot of the dates we were doing, like, you're gonna embarrass yourself anyway. Like, we did a date where I was like in a Speedo on the beach, like throwing pucking dodgeballs at other dudes. Like, I did a day where I had to write a song and sing it. Like, you're already gonna embarrass yourself doing these types of things. Like, lean into it, have fun with it. And I think like I was one of those people like, yeah, fuck it, let's have a good time, let's go for it. And like as a result, probably got a little bit more screen time and like ITMs as a result of it. But like it's such a weird process, and you're uncomfortable the entire time. Lean into that. Like I was very comfortable being uncomfortable, I guess would be the best way.
We were like fully competing either.
No, I mean like you get a little competitive, and that's like so natural on the show. Is like it's really the guys is anything. Like I'm a competitive person, whether it's I'm playing pickleball or I'm like dating the same girl as 20 other dudes. Like you get a little bit competitive, but it was more so like, hey, like I'm gonna have fun with it. Whatever happens, happens. And like I truly had like just the most amazing experience. It was so much fun.
Yeah, we were talking. I don't know if it was like a month ago. Time flies. It was probably 3 months ago at this point. But we were having a night out talking about the show, and you were saying some things that like the viewer on TV wouldn't know, like the rose ceremonies at like 5 a.m.
Yeah.
So you're kind of drunk. It's like kind of insane. Like, what is that process like for someone on the show versus watching?
Yeah, I think what most people don't realize is like we film for hours and hours and hours a day, and they see like a small like 0.1% of what actually like goes down. So like rose ceremonies, for example, like a first rose ceremony we did, I got to the mansion like night 1 at like midnight. We didn't end that night until like 9 o'clock in the morning. Like I was up all night, like the entire time. Like the rose ceremony, if you go back and watch, it's light out, like the sun is coming up, and people like think it's like, oh, like we're seeing everything. You're really not seeing everything. Like you're seeing a small subset, and like they're building stories for each individual character in the lead as you go through. But like that was like a shock to me, is like how much you film. Like you're filming nonstop.
And do you know what makes it in or doesn't, or not until it airs?
Yeah, no idea. Like when the audience watches it, it's the same time I'm watching it.
Yeah.
So like I was glued to my television a lot of these episodes. I was like, what's gonna happen? There was one scene that like wasn't in it where I was like, I how is that not in that freaking show? And it was like nothing serious. It was me like putting, like making a putt. And I was like, they gotta put that in because
putt.
it was a hard putt. We were on cobblestone, like the mansion driveway is like unlevel, and like I stepped up, made it first try. I was like, that's in it.
Yeah.
Gotta be in it. No, it wasn't in it. But like I watched it and I was like, man, God, like I want to see what's gonna happen too because we have no idea. And like we were there, we lived it, but like you don't know what the finished product's gonna look like.
It's gotta be hard to not spill the beans on what happens.
Yeah, I mean, like you have your close friends and like you sign an NDA and like you're not like you shouldn't be like shouting it from the rooftops, but like you have your close personal friends that they know.
Yeah.
Like they know when you came back, they know if it's still filming or not. They can kind of put 2 and 2 together. But that was the one thing. It was like keep under wraps. And like for me, like with Bachelorette and Bachelor in Paradise, I filmed 2 seasons before I saw a single episode of Bachelorette.
Oh damn.
So I had 2 seasons I had to keep under wraps as I was going. So when you're out, going out afterwards, like girls like, are you single? And you're like,
I don't know.
You gotta
tough.
watch, right?
Yeah, that's tough.
Because it happens both times. Like on the Bachelorette, they see you, like you may get engaged at the end, and then you're like, I don't know, you got to continue to watch. And then same thing with Paradise. You're like, I don't know, I might be in a relationship.
Damn.
It's weird. Yeah, that definitely put a damper on the dating life after.
Yeah. Going back to the puppet master part, are there like people behind the scenes like trying to create fights or like giving somebody a little bit too much alcohol? Like, how does that actually play into it?
So you're like your own person too, which is like very unique. And producers, like their job is to create a television show. Like their job is to create something very interesting to watch. Never like from an alcohol perspective. Like what's amazing is like the bar opens at noon when you're there. You can drink they limit the amount of drinks you can have per hour. So it's not like you can go and just get completely obliterated.
How
but
many
like
per hour?
3 per hour.
That's
Okay.
a lot.
Have a good time.
That's what I mean. Like you can, if you want to get drunk, you can get drunk. However, most of us were like a perfect level of like a little buzz to have a little bit more confidence. But like there's some dates like us singing in front of 250 people. Like I never even did karaoke before.
Yeah.
Let alone like
millions
sing
of
in front of 250 people. That's going to be viewed by millions. So like I definitely had a little bit more liquid courage in me that day than others. But like you can choose when you go to the bar, and it's funny because the nights when people are leaving are always the ones where like we're always like, let's go do shots. Like could be the last night we're with each other for a little bit. So like those rose ceremony nights are the ones where like, we're always, how many drinks am I on? All right, like I have 2 more left. All right, let's do it. Let's time it up and get it.
Do you get like time freedom, like to go work out? Is there a gym?
It depends. Like at the mansion, there's no gym. But when we travel, we stay in hotels. So like we'll have a little bit of time in the morning.
Yeah.
It really just depends on the schedule of filming because everything's timed out. Even something like us arriving at a hotel, like that's timed out to get the perfect lighting for us exiting the vehicle, going into the hotel. Like it's very, very, it's all on a schedule. So if you have time to fit in a workout, you can make it work. It's not every day, but like I tried. That was the one thing I really wanted to do.
Can't lose your physique on the show, bro.
No, I know. It's like tough. And then like you're not making your own meals, like you're getting a lot of stuff catered. But like that was one thing. If I could get a workout in the morning, I would feel somewhat normal going through a situation that really isn't normal.